Thank you. All right, we're ready. I'll call this meeting to order for our West Haven City Council. We're excited to have such a great crowd here. We normally have many more people than this here, but we appreciate you being here. This is exciting. My name's Rob Vanderwood. I'm the mayor, and it looks like we have all of our council members here tonight. We also have our staff and city manager, our legal, and our community development person as well. So we're glad to have everyone here. We'll get started tonight with our opening ceremonies, which we will start with our Pledge of Allegiance and our prayer or moment of silence. We'll start with our Pledge of Allegiance with Councilmember Schwab and our prayer or moment of silence with Councilmember Morse.
Will you please rise and repeat the Pledge of Allegiance after me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we are so grateful for this day. We are thankful that we could come together as a community and as a council to make good decisions on behalf of our city. We're especially grateful, Father, for those that are attending our meeting, both virtually and in person. We are thankful for their presence. Father, we ask for blessings so that we as a council can make good decisions on behalf of our residents. We ask that you give special blessings to our law enforcement, our members of service, our men and women of service, and our healthcare providers as well. Father, we ask that you bless those that are working to take care of the sick and injured, that they may find some relief soon. We ask that you also give special blessings to those who are suffering at this time. We say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Councilmember Schwab and Morse. We'll move on to item number 3 on our agenda, which is our public presentation. This gives residents attending this meeting allotted 2 minutes to express a concern or ask a question about any issue that is not on the agenda. Any action, no action can or will be taken on any of the issues presented. Do we have anybody from the public that would like to stand at this time? Come up. Okay, and there's no one online. Seeing none, we'll move forward. We'll go ahead with action item number 4 on our action on consent agenda. We've got kind of a long list here, so I'll read through those. Item number A is special swearing in and city council minutes that was held on January 3rd. Item number B would be our city council minutes for January 5th. Item number C is our strategic plan city council minutes, and that was on January 19th. Item number D is our strategic plan city council minutes on January 21st. Number E is waste management for $26,168.20. F is for Weber County Transfer Station for $16,045. And G is for Advanced Paving and Construction, LLC, for $328,891.93. H is for Gardner Engineering for $22,616.25. Is there any discussion on the consent agenda?
Emily, I just have one correction, excuse me, on the January 3rd meeting, under number 10, we're just missing an A on the arena, the man in the arena. That's all I have.
I just had one question on the meetings from the council meeting from the, looks like from the January 5th, the minutes. on the action on planning commission meeting recommendations on the Salt Point subdivision. There was, I'm not sure if this is correct, it might be. It said A.J. Saunders said that the building materials, was there another Saunders here?
Yeah, so the person that came in for Salt Point is the Saunders.
Oh, okay. All right. I just didn't know if that was, if you were trying to say that was me, because,
If we're calling you
didn't
AJ now.
all right, thank you.
Any other discussion? Okay, I'm ready for motion.
Move to approve consent agenda items A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and H.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We'll go through roll call on this. Councilmember Schwab,
Aye.
Councilmember Morse,
Aye.
Councilmember Call,
Aye.
Councilmember Dixon,
Aye.
Councilmember Saunders.
Aye.
Looks like it's approved. Thank you very much. Motion is passed. So we'll move on to item number 5. This will be our presentation for Rocky Mountain Junior High, our National Academic League. And we appreciate the work and for those being here. And we'll turn some time over to our Councilmember Dixon to explain a little bit.
Thank you, Mayor. One of the things that West Haven City wants to do more of is to acknowledge and celebrate the amazing achievements of the residents of our city. And so I feel privileged to announce the winners of our very first award, called the West Haven Youth Award of Merit, to the National Academic League from Rocky Mountain Junior High. Of the 9 games in the regular season, they only lost the first one to Snowcrest. And again, they played Snowcrest in the finals, and we'll talk about that in a minute. The score was, for the championship game, was 68-65. So let me tell you a little bit about NAL. This game was a nail-biter. And I only can compare it to a basketball game in the last 2 minutes when the score's going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. In a basketball game, you can take a breath every time the other team gets the ball, and you're cheering like heck. In NAL, you are completely silent. You cannot scream. You cannot cry. You cannot clap. You can't do anything, and it is totally very, very scary, for one thing. So I would like to ask Mr. Reichert and Mrs. Thornott to come to the podium if they would. They are the coaches of the team. Wow, you guys are dressed alike. Awesome.
Fantastic representation.
It is amazing. Mrs. Thornott, Mrs. Thornott coaches the presentation team, which we'll talk about in a second. And Mr. Reichert, in addition to coaching the buzzer team, also has athletic prowess, as he was always jumping over the library desk in the middle of the meet, which I thought was really outstanding. It was very impressive. I would just like for you to turn around. I would like everyone in the audience to stand and give these 2 people a round of applause. The dedication that you 2 have shown has been just amazing. And so if you don't mind, if you could just take a minute and explain each of your teams to us so that we understand a little bit more about what you do.
That's what I thought. Okay, so I'm Mrs. Thornock. I'm Heidi Thornock, and I coach the presentation team. And we are given a topic to research. It's usually a 1 or a 2-word topic. And the students come up with whatever they can within that topic that they research. They memorize quotes, they memorize statistics, they memorize facts, they learn all kinds of things about that topic. And then when we arrive at the game, they give the students a prompt that's anywhere from a third of a page to a page long of what they want included. And then the group of students is taken to a classroom typically, and they are given about 30 minutes to take all of the information they've collected. They can't take any notes in, they can't take any cell phones in, any Chromebooks. They can't take anything except their minds in, and they have about 30 minutes to prepare a 3 to 5 minute presentation addressing the topic and the prompt that they were given.
And they are scored how, Mrs. Thornton?
Oh, a wide variety of things. The quality of their information, the quality of their presentation. If they're interesting, they're required to bring in a visual, so how applicable their visual is to their presentation, and just a lot of different things that all kind of combine together.
And then they get points for it after that. Each team gets points for their presentation. And those points are very important in close games. Mr. Reichert, could you explain the buzzer team for us?
So the buzzer team is just, it's pretty much Trivial Pursuit. And you get points for correct answers. And in the fourth quarter, you get negative points for incorrect answers. And I think you mentioned basketball earlier, and the scoring system in NAL is very, very unique because for every single quarter, there's a different scoring system. In first quarter, you get, for example, you get 2 points for a correct answer, but only if it's your question that the question starts with. If you steal the correct answer, still by giving the correct answer, and it's not your team that has the question, I'm not doing a very good job at explaining this. Sorry. If you steal the question by giving a correct answer, then you get a positive 1 point. In second quarter, you get +3 for a correct answer. And in fourth quarter, you get +2 for a correct answer and -1 for an incorrect answer. And so that's where fourth quarter is the nail biters quarter, because then that's where you get the back and forth, because as Councilmember Dixon will probably let us know later, in the fourth quarter in the championship game when we were against Snowcrest, the very last question, the score was 68 to 66. And the reason why it's a nail biter for us is because if the Snowcrest team buzzed in and got it correct, it would have tied the score, and we would have gone into 3-minute overtime, and it would have just dragged out the pain and the agony. But they buzzed in and they got it wrong, and so they lost a point. And so then it was 68 to 65. So.
And time ran out, which we were so excited about.
Yes, we were. We were
Okay,
very
so
grateful.
the members of the NAL team, I'm going to give you a challenge. You have 30 seconds to come up here and put yourselves in alphabetical order. Go.
Go last name.
Last.
Who's the end?
A is this way, Z is that way.
Okay, so like you are so you're right here.
Okay, it jumps from K to N.
Did you make it? Are you in alphabetical order? I think so. Are you sure?
I think we just.
There's gonna be a quiz. Okay, everybody look at the same. Everybody look at Josh's mom.
Okay. I can't do that part. I can't, like, it's not letting me get.
Okay, never mind. Don't look at Josh's mom. Look at Riker's dad. I've never met Riker's dad. Hi, Riker's dad. Hello.
Are we good with pictures? Oh, wait, I wanted to get a picture of that one. Okay.
We can share it.
Would you mind sending me your picture so that I can
We'll send it. We'll send it. Mr. Creener, would you also come up and join this? The principal
This isn't about me.
Oh yeah, it's not about us either. Look where we're at.
No, when you have more matching
So where do the A's start?
On the other side, I think.
There's no A.
There's no A's. All right. So what,
Literally,
A B.
what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down the line, and then if you will shake the mayor's hand and stand there for a second, if that, can we take a picture of the mayor with the person? And parents, please come up here. I kind of want to see that. Okay. So, Rachel B.
Thank you. Awesome.
Simeon? Mons, everybody's got it? Okay. Josh? Tell me if you're not who I'm saying for. Cameron? Absolutely. Oh, yes. Sisters. One on each side. Reagan? England?
Maddie. Farrell. Go ahead and shoot down.
Slade? Is Slade not here?
Slade is not.
Maddie?
Okay, Mayor.
Maddie Farrell?
Hold this one more. Thanks. Phone froze up for a second.
Riker Gailey? Okay, I have to just say, there's nepotism going on here. This is my grandson, Hayden Hipwell, which is how I got acquainted with NALT, so he has to have a hug. And his face is red.
Oh, you messed up.
Ah, dang it.
Oh, Sage?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I was looking for a guy. I'm sorry, do you want us to change that to your?
We can fix it.
Okay. Oh, Addison.
Yes.
Addison Coker. Corbin. Maddie. Maddie Nuttall. Billy. Malin. So glad I know that alphabet. Ainsley. Ansley. Sorry about
Very
that.
good, thank you.
Sophia. Jonathan. Kurt. Cash. Clayton. Lexi. All right, and then we also have, did we have Jonathan? Is that here?
Jonathan.
We wanted to present you with this from the Rocky Mountain, for the Rocky Mountain Junior High's National Academic League for the 2022 Weaver School District Champion. And they also have certificates for you. Did I leave them up there, Carrie? Are they under something? Oh, right there. So, Mr. Rucker, thank you so much. Mrs. You don't know.
This one I have. This is great.
For you and all those pictures.
No, we should have been making.
Oh, we need the coaches with the mayor too.
Wow, I mean, like,
Okay, 1, 2, 3, very good.
And for the team, I just wanted to thank you so much for your dedication, your sportsmanship, which was outstanding, and your leadership. And I just want to give you a big hand.
I just want to say congratulations to each of you and thank you for representing West Haven. And I know some of you aren't from West Haven, but West Haven and Rocky Mountain Junior High so well. I'm so impressed.
Well, and good luck at state. You'll have to let us know when that is, because I think that they stream it, don't they, maybe? You're going national.
Well, we-
Awesome.
We
We
want
need
to
to-
know how you
Yes.
do, so please
informed.
keep us
Well,
posted
you're gonna have to
on
come
that.
back for that, because obviously you're gonna be winners. So, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
We appreciate it. Thanks, council, and thanks, Kim, for doing that. We really appreciate your time and effort in doing and getting that taken care of. And thanks, parents, for your support. All right, we'll move on, and thanks again. We'll move on with our next item on here. We have another presentation on here. It's a little noisy. If you guys would do us a favor and just kind of move out to the hallway, thank you so much for being here. Our next presentation on here, I'll turn some time over. We had a wonderful presentation with our Mayor's Appreciation Dinner that we had, and the council did such a good job of honoring so many people. But we had some people that couldn't come to the dinner that night. It was on Saturday, January 15th, I believe. And so we wanted to just make sure we caught up a few of those tonight. But we only had one person that could come tonight, so we're going to honor that person as well. And I'll turn some time over to Councilmember Schwab.
Well, I have the privilege to be assigned to the VIPS program, and by the size of everybody in here, I'm pretty sure everybody knows the VIPS program. But it's a volunteer and policing service. It's a really exciting thing where we can get together and help out the Weber County Sheriff Program. We can help be their eyes and ears and help patrol our city and try to make it safer. And we're really grateful for our volunteers that have been involved thus far and hope that we can get several more involved. We have Glenda, who's not here, but Tim is going to be here to accept the award. And Mayor, if you would come with me, we'll hand this out.
Tim, thank you so much for your dedicated service to our city. We appreciate that. Thank you.
How many years have you been doing it, Tim? It's been a while. 3 years. 3 years. That's right. I remember.
Yeah, this is a wonderful opportunity because I get a chance to go out as well, and it's a lot of fun. But no one's gone out probably as much as Tim and Glenda, so we're excited for them. And thank you for doing that. We just wanted to honor you and make sure. And our sheriff's department back there, I know they appreciate the group as well. And so just so you know, if you don't, during the evening times, late at night, sometimes quite late into the evening, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, people are out patrolling and watching over the city for that kind of thing. So they're the eyes and ears of the city for the sheriff's department. So thanks again.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to our next item on here. This is item number 8, action on Planning Commission meeting recommendations.
Are we missing something?
Did I miss something?
Item 7.
Did I miss that? Oh, yes. I crossed that off too early. Thank you. See, every meeting, Nina has to remind me of something, and I appreciate it
love
very,
it.
very much.
I do. I
So
love
thank
it.
you, Nina. Yes, item number 7, we have another presentation we're excited about it's for the Arpa Funds for the Children's Justice Center. And I believe we have Mr. Layton and possibly, do you have someone else with you too that wanted to come up?
Yeah, she's my partner, but we'll.
Okay.
I'll call her in a second.
All right, well, thank you.
I
Apologize
was-
for the,
Thank
mess in
you.
here.
I was thinking this was probably the wrong night to come because my grandkids go to Snowcrest.
I'm so sorry.
I was like, your kids beat my kids.
We can't apologize.
Thank you. Yes, thank you. We're going to be quick. We'll try to get through this as quick as we can. Mayor, I don't know if you were at the WACOG meeting.
Yes, I was.
So you saw a little bit of that.
Yes.
We'll pass this out, and that will make this go a little bit quicker here. So I'm the director of the Children's Justice Center. Patricia is one of my coordinators that takes care of all the victims and their families as they come in. And we've both been working on this project for a few years now, about 2.5, 3 years. We started this project. If you look at the first part of let me just preface this chart. The Children's Justice Center is actually not a nonprofit organization. We get mixed up with that. We have a nonprofit that supports us, but we're actually Weber County employees. So we work for the county attorney's office. We facilitate the prosecution of child abuse cases, sexual abuse, physical abuse, drug endangerment, those type of cases. So even though the nonprofit supports us, we are government employees. We work, again, for the county. The state of Utah pays some of our wages. We get grant funding for some of those wages. Weber County throws in some, and that's kind of the financial side of that. So everybody kind of throws a little bit into the Children's Justice Center. We are located at 2408 Van Buren. It's an old house. We found out in 1991 when we started this program that we cannot interview children at police departments, and we can't interview children if we have uniforms on and badges and guns. So over the years, we've developed a program that is very effective in prosecuting and investigating and starting a healing process. We really only prosecute 20% of our cases. The other 80%, we're just there to offer services, to let kids tell their stories. Contrary to what some people believe, kids don't like to talk to strangers about that stuff. That's false. They don't want to talk to their parents about that stuff. They want to talk to a stranger. They want to talk to somebody else. It's embarrassing for them. If you look at your first page of that, you will see in 2008, we did about 500 cases. In this year, and this chart was made the 1st of December, we're at 800. So we will be about 850 by the end of this year. We haven't added those into this chart, but if you look at going from 5 to 850, and that is going to just increase. As we look at what COVID's done, COVID has created, I was so pleased to see what I saw tonight with these kids, because school teachers save lives. School teachers are who kids report to first. We know that kids will wait about 18 months before they report, and then they'll report sexual abuse to a teacher first of all, because that's their lifeline, not everybody else. So we don't know what's going to happen since they haven't had a lot of access to teachers lately. We expect in 2 years, 18 months, we're going to see these increase dramatically because they'll now have access to those teachers. So a big point of this. Bottom line, in a nutshell, we can't sustain this. Our building's way too small. We have 3 families in our little tiny waiting room at the same time, which is terrible. That is not best practices. That's a horrible way to investigate these cases. If you can imagine that your family's involved with a sexual abuse case of a child within your family, you show up at our center and there's 2 other families sitting in that waiting room. We need something that's very confidential. We need something that's secluded. We need some way to start this whole process, and it has to be done right. We found that we need to be in a building that looks like grandma's house, and it can't be a government-shaped building. It just doesn't work. So 2.5 years ago, Patricia and I started working on this, and we got to build a new facility. There's just no way getting around that. And so since then we've found land up on 19th and Jackson, which is right next to the Ogden School District campus right there, where we would be right next to them. We're going to lease that land because it saves us $1.5 million. We started to look at what we needed in square footage, and it turns out this building's gonna be about $5.3 million by the time we get done. But the great thing about it, we've planned for expansion. We've planned for enough square footage that we will not have to move again. We've moved 4 times. So we moved 3, this will be our 4th time because of space. So we've planned that won't happen again. We did not know about the Arpa funds at the time, and so when Arpa came along, we saw a great opportunity that we could move this project up 1.5 years. We approached the county commissioners. The county commissioners immediately jumped on board, said, we will support this with $1 million if you will go out and meet with all the city councils, and we have one town, Huntsville is a town, and you will divide up these funds to $1.5 million more and add it to the $1 million we will give you. Then you'll be at $2.5 million. We can sell our building for $1 million, and then we have a few other donations coming in. So we could quickly be to over $4 million, and we could start construction. So we were very excited about that, since we are in bad shape right now, that we could maybe start digging this in August or September. So what we did is we took, if you'll go to your second page, and let's just go to the second page. Don't worry about the top pie chart. That is the incorporated cities. If you go to or the cities that are not contracted cities. So if you go to the bottom one, that's the cities that Weber County Sheriff's Office contracts with and the unincorporated areas of the county. And we just took the number of cases that come from West Haven, we plugged it into that pie chart. So if you see in 2021, 16.4% of our resources went to cases that come from West Haven. The reason we didn't just say, 43 cases or 50 cases come from West Haven. The reason we did a percentage instead is because there's a lot of things that's not included in that number. We do medical examinations, primary children's hospital is on site. We do mental health assessments on each child that comes through. We do a team staffing where we get together with all the team professionals and we talk about each and every case. We train the officers, we train our interviewers, we train all the time. So there's a lot of resources other than just that number that goes into that. We then took that percentage, and if you go to the very back page, you will see that we just plug that in to the $1.5 million that we're trying to come up with, and West Haven is at $87,000. That would be what we're asking for from West Haven from the Arpa funding. We are not going into tax dollars. We're not asking for you to go budgets and try to find that money. I understand that a lot of the cities have looked at that ARPA money and they're already using it for projects or they have plans for projects, and we totally understand that. But we just thought if we could tie into some of that ARPA from each one of those cities, then we could raise the $1.5 million, which is what the county commissioners asked us to do. So that's how we come up with that amount of money, is just by the cases. So if you look just back on West Haven, you will see that your average cases, so the 36.6, that's the 3-year average, or the number of cases. We get about 36 cases out of West Haven every year. So that could be physical abuse, sexual abuse, mostly sexual abuse cases. So there's just a lot of stuff that goes into those type of cases that comes from when you're talking child sexual abuse.
I'm going to add something.
Oh,
Sorry.
she can add stuff.
I'm just going to add because I did this. So
Yeah, she
the
put
West Haven, you can see in 2020 was 57. That was just before COVID kind of hit. If you look, it went down to 23. The reason it went down to 23 is because school reporting went down in West Haven. So just so you understand, numbers fluctuate because COVID did have an effect. But now that kids are going back to school, we expect the numbers to go past 50, honestly. So just so you know.
Yeah, that's a good point. And that's what I was talking about earlier, that access to school teachers makes a very big difference. And so we anticipate that, yeah, those cases are definitely gonna go back up. So, I don't know if you have a couple of little quick things. We work directly with the county attorney's office on this, so we're in agreement with the cities that contribute money. We will provide you with all the documentation that shows that your ARPA dollars were correctly used, so that, and we'll make sure that that report gets back to the federal government on, and those reports are done. So that there's no question that if you were to share some of your ARPA with us, that it would be under the guidelines that ARPA requires. And we would enter into that agreement with you to make sure there's nothing legally that we're doing that doesn't fit that criteria. There's been a couple of questions about, does this qualify for ARPA? Yeah, it's probably the most qualifying thing that you could do with ARPA under the health and safety and welfare of families. So there is no question if it does, but if your city attorney or somebody or has questions, we can provide the documentation that shows you that it does, and then they will give you that agreement as well. So that's in a nutshell what we're after. We want to get this project started. If we are not successful with getting ARPA from the cities in town, then we're probably going to have to step back and do a capital campaign, which is, well, we will do it. We're going to build this thing no matter what, but we're probably then looking at 2023 or maybe into 2024 before we could actually do that. And I just do not want to wait that long, not with these kind of numbers and the situation that we're in now. So
Can I ask you how the cases come to you? So they're in Weber County or West Haven, then the children get referred to you. Is there a time period within the time that happens?
yes, so what happens, let's just run through that quick. So if there's a reported case of child sexual abuse, then the sheriff's office would respond and take the initial report. We don't want anybody to touch that case other than, the patrol officer could take the initial, then he would refer that to a detective from Weber County. The detective would then contact DCFS. In the state of Utah, you're required to cross-report. So law enforcement can't handle it alone, and DCFS cannot handle it alone. They're required to cross-report to each other. And by the way, there is state statute that makes it mandatory that children are interviewed at a CJC. So could you, out here in West Haven, could you just go into a closet and make a soft interview room? You're not allowed to do that because of the effect that would have on a child and how ineffective that is. So state law requires that law enforcement connects with DCFS. So the detective would call a caseworker, they would call us and say, we're on our way up, and then we would get ready for them. When they showed up, we would have our forensic interviewers. We have two. We found also a few years ago, and I was one of these guys. I worked for the sheriff's office for 20 years in crimes against children, and law enforcement does a horrible job of interviewing children. I thought I was really good at that until I saw a real good forensic interviewer do it. Makes a tremendous difference. So we want to get our law enforcement out of the business of interviewing children. So when they get there, they will monitor it. They will watch the interview. Once that's done and the interviewer gets the disclosure of what happened, then we'll sit down and we'll decide when we can get that child in for the medical side. They will then move into a full medical examination. You do not want to send a child to a pediatrician or even to an emergency room if they've been sexually abused. They don't know how to do these cases. They don't know how to do an examination. And so if you go to your pediatrician, they're going to say, nope, send them to the CJC. So they're going to come to us for that examination. Once we do the examination, and then, well, right after the interview, that's when Patricia would get involved, and she would sit down with these kids, and she does an assessment on them to find out if they need mental health resources. And sometimes it's right from our center right to the hospital, if there's some suicidal tendencies of some kind. If not, then we immediately get them into therapy and start that whole process.
So do they
And
go
that's paid
back to
for.
the home, or, I guess it's
Well,
an individual life.
so DCFS is there on site with us. So you got law enforcement. They're there for the prosecution of the case. DCFS is going to
So for
say,
the child.
okay, we're going to put a safety plan in place. We had a little 13-year-old girl the other day that was there and sexually abused by stepfather. Just had a baby. Yeah, that was a stepfather. Yeah. We never know for sure. Mom's boyfriend. Mom knew about it, and so we immediately removed this little girl from parents, so we did a removal. That's what DCFS will do. They'll do the removal. If that's not necessarily, then yeah, we send them back, but not with an offending parent. So if there's one of the parents or the offender, then they've either got to move out of the house or we're going to remove the child. Once that's all done, and the next week we sit down with 35 of us, and we all sit and we talk about that case and what have we missed, what do we need to do more. The school districts are involved, Ogden and Weber school districts, and we go over every single bit of that case. What have we missed? What do we need to do different? Well, what are we going to do at this point? So, like I say, only 20% are prosecuted. The other 80 is get them into services. Let's get them help. The school districts will step in, help with their teachers, help with
Why
that
is
kind of
only
thing.
20% prosecuted?
Evidence. You've got to just have beyond a reasonable amount of evidence to do that, and a lot of times we just don't have that.
Can I ask you a question? And by the way, I'm very familiar with the CJC and so appreciative of the work that you all are doing. I think it's just tremendous, and really, it's hard to even explain how great the work is that you're doing. So thank you for that. But let me ask you, if half the cities decide to give you funding, well, how will you go about that? So if you collect half the money you're looking for, I mean, do you give it back? How do you do that?
Well, we're hoping that doesn't happen, obviously.
Yeah, sure.
The commissioners have not said what would happen. They just said, go out and get have the other cities, contribute to this. And it always comes down to the same thing. It's always the county will say it's the state's responsibility. The cities will say it's the county's responsibility. And so we get into this fighting back and forth. Whose responsibility is it?
Right.
And so when the county stepped up, they did say, it is some of our responsibility, but the cities need to be involved with this. If you look at the very last line on this page, on the very last part, we actually included that line. If we was to take the contract cities and we were to take the unincorporated areas, Weber County's portion would actually be $383,000. And so we included that to show that the county's going to give us $1 million. So they're really giving us $600,000 over what they really should. And so we don't, and that's when they said, we will give you this $1 million, but we really need the cities to jump in on this and have a part of it. And so far with the city councils we've been going to, we really haven't had a lot of, we don't want to be involved, we're not going to do this. One thing that the cities have asked is, can we do it over 2 years? Can we pay half this year and half next year? The county is willing to do up to 3 years if you want to split it up. But if we only get half the money, then I'm going to go back to the commissioners and say, this is how much we could do, and then it'd be their call. But that's gonna hurt if we don't get the $1 million from them and then the $1.5 million from the city.
Of course,
So,
yep.
I don't know if I answered that, but we don't know what will happen if we only
Sure.
get half
No,
the
I
city,
mean, if you
so-
don't know for sure what will happen, you don't know, right?
Yeah, I just
But
don't know.
the funds have to be spent within a certain amount of time, don't they? So if we wanted to
ARPA
use those,
funds do.
right? So if we wanted to use
But-
those funds,
What the county said is if you guys can get up to $4 million, so if we can get the 2.5 from ARPA, then $1 million from our building, and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is throwing in, they've told us 300,000, we're going to ask for 5. So if we can do that, then we'll get to 4 million. We could actually, the county then would say, go ahead and start your building. And we'll work on that $1.3 million that you're going to need after that. So this is really crucial. This is critical that we get the 2.5 million. I think that's really where we're hoping that the cities will step up and do this. I've been asked many times, like, whose responsibility is this? And I really, as I've thought that over for years, because this question comes up on everything, is I really believe it's the cities. And the reason I believe that is because we're pulling your children out. They're coming to the center. We're going to put them back into your cities at a much better place. You're going to end up paying for that child sexual abuse in one way or the other. So if we can fix some of it and put them back into your communities, there's going to be a lot less impact. And it's just devastating. This will devastate communities. It will separate neighborhoods. It separates church congregations. I've seen it do some horrible things. And so we're trying to remove the kids out, get them a little healthier, and then put them back. State doesn't care about that. The county doesn't care. The cities care because they're your neighbors and your families. So that's why I believe that it really is a city responsibility.
And I'm sorry, I might have missed this, but when are you looking for the funds? When did you want to start?
Well, what we would like is the county's been really fair with the cities. If they will just commit and say, yeah, we will pay into this. We'll give you what's yours,
87.
87,000.
87,000. We will commit to that. The county's going to go ahead and let us move forward with our project. Of course, they would like to get this in place. We're going to create a special project budget within the Weber County, and then money that comes in will go right. It won't go into the general fund. It's got to be protected. It's got to fit the ARPA rules. So we would obviously like to get it as fast as we can, and then we'd have that part done, and we wouldn't have to worry about that, and we could move on with our construction.
Okay, so Matt, can we talk about the ARPA funds? Can you tell us what we're expected to get? And I mean, we haven't really talked a whole lot about them before this anyway.
Well, we have $1.9 million. We last fall we went through a proposed list of different projects to do that. We have not committed directly for any of those, and so those do have to be spent within the next 2 years. And I know that our storm and water, our special service district is providing a list of different items that they're interested in having improvements made through.
Nina, I think, if I may, I think what we'll do is when we go through our project planning, we'll be talking about the ARPA funds and the direction we'll be going with when we have that strategic meeting, which is coming up relatively soon.
Yeah.
Is there any other questions the council may have for Mr. Layton while he's here?
I just had a process question or procedure question. Does the council approve this? How does that work if we decide to do this?
We couldn't do it tonight.
I know, but it's a vote of the council that would release these funds?
We would agree to do
Okay,
that in our,
okay.
let's get to our project funding that we
Yeah,
have.
I was just wondering how that would work.
And I think that we all think it's a great program. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
We've got we're just getting started with our process. We've been working on getting our meetings done, so we'll have some time to talk about that and have some answers to you probably here in the near future.
Yeah.
If there's anything else, is there anything else?
I will say
you guys
one
have?
thing, Mayor, too, that just to take into consideration. When I mentioned that we're not a nonprofit, but we have a nonprofit that is attached to us. When it was created in 1991, it was Reed Richards that actually put this thing together. And so he said if we had a nonprofit that would support it, we could run our program, but we would not have to go back to the cities and towns to ask for funding. And so once the building is completely finished, then we will deed that over to the nonprofit. We won't be coming back to West Haven for money. We haven't been to West Haven for money in 30 years, and once it's done, we won't be coming back. So it's actually flipped. Like most of the time, government supports nonprofits. And now the nonprofit's going to support the government, the mandatory government program that we're required. So it's a great partnership, and we just won't be back to get more funds. I'm not sure there's many programs like that we have a nonprofit that's going to support it that way. So that's a big advantage to this. But just so you understand, we won't be back next week.
Yeah.
Unless your kids beat my kids again, then I'm coming back.
Well, we appreciate that. And again, thank you so much for you and
Betcha.
Patricia coming out and,
Thank you
and
for
presenting.
that.
We really appreciate
Very
that.
welcome. If there's any questions, get a hold of us. Thank you. I'll have Patricia's email.
Yep,
I don't
Yep.
do anything.
we're good.
Thank you again
So
for,
much.
for the work that you're
Very welcome.
doing.
Thank you for letting us present. Okay.
You bet. All right, we'll move forward then. After our presentations, we've got our number 8. Nina, are we okay to move forward on number 8?
You're good to go.
We'll move forward on our Action Planning Commission meeting with recommendations. Our first one on here will be a final subdivision approval for Haven Parkway Phase 4, approximately 1789 South, 2300 West at Ivory Homes. I'm not sure we have anyone here. Are they online? Not online. That's for both, I think, both A and B, if I...
Do you want me to come down there, or am I okay over here?
Are you going to represent them tonight?
What?
Are you going to come
They're
and
not
represent
here.
them?
Developers aren't
They
online.
were made aware that these would be coming before the city council tonight.
And they didn't come.
And they haven't shown up for
Yeah.
it.
Table?
I see.
And they're both being done by Ivory Homes. I mean, in both cases, they're compliant with. One is governed. Haven Parkway is governed by an MGA. Fairhaven is not, but in both cases, they're compliant with the preliminary plat that was previously presented, and with, in the case of Haven Parkway, with the MDA that applies.
You think it would be a problem for them if we table it, or do we need to move forward? What's your thoughts?
No, I don't believe there's any reason not to table it. They
Okay.
are familiar enough with the city's process that they should be.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
It was gonna be.
I agree with that.
I think we've decided that as a council that if they're willing to come here, but we'll be happy to entertain them at the next council meeting. We can do that.
I move the table.
Yes, that'd be fine if you'd like to.
Move the table.
Second.
Okay, we got a motion and a second. Let's see. Let's do do we need to do these separate, Matt or Emily? Or do we need to do them separately? Let's do for, we did that on the first one, so let's go ahead and just do a vote on that. For all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Okay, we'll go ahead with the second one on here.
Move to table
Second.
8B final subdivision approval for Fairhaven Phase 2.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Okay, we'll go ahead with, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Say nay. Okay. Motion carries. So we'll get them set up for the next time. Thank you, council, for that, and thank you, Sherry, for letting us know. Number 9 on here, action on resolution for notice of intent to perform a storm water impact fee analysis and approve a contract with Zion's Public Finance to prepare a storm water impact fee analysis. And I think we'll go ahead and turn that over to Matt.
Yeah. What this action is has been discussed previously with the council, is that we need to update our stormwater impact fee plan, feasibility plan, and that's to be able to account for the capital improvement projects that we are looking to build on those. This will take a little bit of a process. We're looking at probably about a 4 to 5 month process to do the plan, and then about a month to do the analysis. As part of this just provides the justification to bill the impact fees to developers as they come into the community, and so will provide us a good outlook on what capital projects for our stormwater over the next 3 to 6 years. And so we're looking forward to have them do that. We do need to have a notice to post that to say that we are going to do that. And then we do have the contract with Science Public Finance to perform the impact fee analysis afterwards. So this is just a regular part, similar to our park impact fees, our road impact fees. This is a study to allow us to justify the construction and capital improvements that we are planning to do over the next few years.
So Matt, what is the cost of that and where does that money come from?
So this money was not budgeted. This is something that we'll be needing to do. As we approve this project, we would be pulling on Gardner's Engineering to do the IFFA or IFFP. That will be coming from some of our engineering monies that we have allotted. We would be asking the council to distribute from their contingency fund or their project fund for the amounts for Zion's Public Finance.
And what would the amount be?
That amount is on there. It is no problem. I didn't scroll down that. I don't want to speak wrong on record. I believe it's $6,000, but let me make sure on that.
Yes, it is $6,000.
Yeah, $6,000, which this is a professional service, so we didn't go out to for a request for bid or anything like that. Professional services allow us to do that. We did contact another provider, and they said in between 8 and 10. So we do believe this is a good value for the city. Zion's Public Finance is kind of the company for several of these, and so they do a great job. So we'd like to do that. The timing of this, it all depends. I'm not looking for a budget amendment at this time for this money to come out of the council projects, but because it might slip into the next year, and so we might just accommodate it in the budget, but otherwise we would pull it from the council projects fund.
Any further discussion? The council? Okay, this is so I guess I'll look for a motion on that.
I move that we approve Resolution 02-2022. That's a lot of twos and O's. 02-2022. Notice of intent to perform a stormwater impact fee analysis and approve the contract with Science Public Finance to do that analysis.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We're going to do a roll call on this due to the resolution. Let's do Councilmember. Let's go ahead with Councilmember Dixon.
Aye.
Councilmember Morse.
Aye.
Councilmember Schwab.
Aye.
Councilmember Gall.
Aye.
And Councilmember Saunders.
Aye.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Motion carries, and we'll move forward with that, Matt. And we're really anxious to get these done and get them completed, and that'll help our city out a lot. We appreciate that. We'll move on to number 10. This is going to be something that we would like. It's a public hearing, but we would like to invite Sherry to maybe step forward and talk a little bit about this. This is for the International Building Code and other building codes issued by the International Building Code Council, and this is including any fees, schedules, or valuation table included therein. So, Sherry, would you like to help us with that a little bit before we go into public meeting?
Thank you, Mayor. Just to kind of refresh people on the background from when this was initially presented to the council. When I came on board in my position with the city, I wanted to make sure that the city, the building department's practices were up to date and ensure that the costs to run the building department were being covered. And part of that was reviewing all of the building department policies and fees. As part of doing that, I came across some information that the permit fee formula and valuation tables being used by the city are from the late 1990s. And what that has resulted in is significant undervaluing of the construction that has happened in West Haven, which in turn translate to significant lost revenue for the building department. So in order to correct it, What this ordinance proposes to do is a couple of things. It adopts the 2018 ICC codes for residential fire and other building codes. And the other major thing that it does is it would enable the building department to use the most current permit fee formulas and valuation tables. The valuation tables are updated by the ICC every February and every August, and they reflect nationwide construction trends and pricing and things like that. And what this ordinance does is it allows the building department to use whatever is most current to make sure that sometimes it goes up, sometimes it goes down, but it makes sure that we're correctly valuing all the construction, residential, commercial, industrial, all of that comes into West Haven. And one of the immediate positive impacts on this is as close as I can estimate it, it'll be a 50% increase to the building department revenue. On one single family permit, the average revenue gained will be about $1,600, which is not insignificant. And so that's kind of the background and some of the short and long-term effects of the ordinance that's before the council.
Thank you. Appreciate that. In the review you've got on here for permit fees, it looks like it goes from almost $1,200 to $2,400 for permit fees. Does that sound about right? On your table that you've got on the back page?
On that example?
Okay, yeah, so, I mean, that's close, I think, to 100% increase, isn't it? That'd be a great increase for the city across the board. Fantastic. So let's go ahead. Any other questions for Sherry at this time?
I will say, Sherry, thank you for doing the work on that.
Yeah.
So it's appreciated.
You're welcome. I can't promise that everything that I bring to you guys will be this good of news.
Well, then
But
you'll
I
have to
figure this
remind us about this.
might buy me some good graces for.
Yes.
Yeah,
Set
remember
quite the
that one
precedence.
time?
Well, we're excited about it, and I think it'll be very good for the city overall. So let's go ahead and enter into number 10 on public hearing. Again, I'm just going to repeat this again real quick just so that we have it clear. For public hearing for the purpose of receiving public input for the adoption of the International Building Code and other building codes issued to the International Code Council, including any fee schedule or evaluation table included therein. So I'm open for a motion for public hearing.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, so we'll move into public hearing. If there's anybody here?
Hey, I'm a public.
Mayor, do you need to
Jeff
vote on
Reed, 4427. I'm
that?
sorry.
Need
did
a
I-
roll call or a
Yeah,
vote?
we need to do a roll call real quick, so hang on just one second.
Go ahead.
Thank you. So we'll do
Just a vote.
just a vote on this. So let's see, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Mr. Reed.
Jeff Reed, 4427 West, 3750 South. I noticed several things when I was looking this over. First of all, congratulations to our 2 new council members and our new mayor. I was really appalled by what I consider to be some real bad incompetence that's taken place in prior administrations. To let this slip through the cracks for so long. It's a huge amount of money, and that's just since August. It could be in the hundreds of thousands. It could be in the millions. I don't know. And then I'm pretty sure it's a no-brainer that you're going to approve it, which is good. Most importantly is the work that Sherry has done. I know she's a public employee, so she can't get bonuses. If there's an employee of the year, an employee of the decade, the employee of a century, Sherry is it. That's it.
Well,
Thank
thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reed. I appreciate that.
I did not pay him to say that.
You should have waited and had him come up later when it's not that good of a news.
Any other comments from anyone online or anything? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move forward and we'll go out of, take a motion to go out of public.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Thank you. Okay, let's move on to the action item on number 11, action on public hearing to adoption of ordinance 01/2022, the adoption for the International Building Code and other building codes issued by the International Code Council, including the fee schedule or valuation table included therein. Any discussion on this?
Sherry, you mentioned that it gets changed twice a year as far as the fee schedule goes in the table, but the International Code usually only changes about every 3 years. Do we need to change?
I have to stand up. I'm losing my hearing and being
Sorry, let me talk a little louder. Is that better?
loud. Thank you.
So the fee schedule changes twice a year, you mentioned, and the International Code usually updates about every 3 years. So does this ordinance allow us to maintain with the two changes every year, or do we need to do this annually, every 3 years when the Code Council changes to the newest edition?
What this does is it allows the building department to automatically pull in the most current valuation tables. But every 3 years, the council will need to readopt the IBC and the changes that have been made to it. But between those adoptions, just every 6 months, the building official can pull in when ICC releases the new valuation table. The building department can just pull that in and automatically start using it without having to come back to the council for it. And it was intentionally drafted that way, just so it can become part of their automatic process when that's released.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other discussion?
I'll make a motion to, to approve ordinance 01/2022, the adoption of the International Business Code and other building codes issued by the International Code Council, including any fee schedule or valuation table included therein.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Emily, is this a individual or can we? Roll call. Thank you. We'll do a roll call on that. Councilmember Call.
Aye.
Councilmember Morse.
It's a no-brainer. Aye.
Thank you for that. Councilmember Schwab.
Aye.
Councilmember Dixon.
Aye.
And Councilmember Saunders.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion carries, and we're excited about this to get completed. Thank you again, Sherry, for your work on this. We really appreciate that, and we're looking for, Employee of the Year.
No bonuses.
Only, of course, if you do this again a couple times. But it's exciting.
If I can, Mayor, I will just say one thing, just because it became part of the discussion when we were talking about this. We do have an accepted offer on a building official, and he will be starting March 1st.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for the update. We appreciate it to the council. On item number 12 on the agenda, we're having a discussion, possible action on Kenneth R. Baldwin Country Park Irrigation Project. Mr. Jensen.
So what we have is, in this year's budget, there was $200,000 allotted for irrigation improvements in the park, along with an additional connection to a 4-inch line to provide us additional water pressure because the landscape irrigation required it to run pretty much 24 hours a day to satisfy it during the summer months. This improvement, the original budget, just to let the council know, was to pull out all the pipes and start new. And we did go out with an more or less an RFP for proposal on bringing in. This group was awarded it, and then they came in to design the actual system. And as they came in, they said, your pipes are of a certain style that we can reuse those and just extend and reposition the heads. And so they were able to kind of engineer it down so that the cost was drastically, well, almost half the anticipated budget cost. One thing is as Brock's staff report shows in the review, there was $200,000 for the actual work, $25,000 for the new connection. About $14,000 is set in this bid, this $108,000 to accommodate that new connection, and then there's about $11,000 that we paid to Weber Basin Water Conservancy District to get that connection. And so that puts us just a little bit over on the $25,000 for the connection, but it saves us substantially on the $200,000. Some nice things about this, we do get an automated system which we can control remotely. So if it's raining, we can go and change it. Right now, everything's manual, so someone for Parks or Rec would have to run out there and turnkey everything when it's raining. And so we're looking forward to being able to save water during those times, particularly with the state looking to put secondary metering on all irrigation systems. Also, there's a self-cleaning filter, so some of that brings it just up a little bit, but with the amount of savings we're looking at doing, we're excited about this project and hope to have some good irrigation without having those sprinklers run nonstop around on the park during the warm months. Open to any questions. Otherwise, we'd ask for approval to proceed with this design. It's not, the contract's already been done, but this design is what we're looking to have approval on. Any questions from the council?
I have a question.
Please.
Typically, not typically, I should just say, in the past, we've had these bids come to the council first before selecting a company. Is there a reason why this company was selected before coming to the council?
I can't remember the actual date, but it was presented to the council actually towards the end of summer when we did that.
Goodness.
I'd have to pull that up. But yes, this was, and so they actually awarded that, and this is the design that came from it.
Okay. Well, I apologize.
No problem. Yeah. We want to bring bids to you.
I think it was was it Lakefront or was it a company?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Lakeside.
Lakeside, thank you.
LLC, or Lakefront, you're right.
Was it Lakefront? Okay. Any other questions for Matt on this project?
So if I'm understanding correctly, it came in under bid, right? So, and it was already in the budget, and it'll be a better system that saves water. So it seems like it's kind of a win-win.
Yes.
Is it a no-brainer?
This is almost a no-brainer right here. Is it okay if I go ahead and make a motion and approve that?
Yes, you can make a motion.
I'll make a motion to go ahead and approve this design for the Kenneth R. Baldwin Country Park Irrigation Project.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. We'll go ahead and just do a vote on that. Any further discussion at all? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Okay, Matt, it looks like it passed, so
Thank you.
we can move forward with it. Thank you, council. Number 13, we'll move on to upcoming events. This is an exciting opportunity, and I apologize for the name, Howdy Hall. Now, don't ask me where I came up with that, but I did. And I'm asking, this is going to take place of our Meet the Mayor type situation. I wanted to make sure we had the council involved, and I'm asking for a couple volunteers to help us out on February 17th from 5:30 to 6:30. But I'd like to have a couple of council members with me and just make ourselves available to the public.
I would volunteer, Mayor.
Okay.
I can be available as well.
Would you like to do that too?
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. We've got those. And then the next month that we do that, we'll get a couple others, and so we rotate around. Does that
Good
sound
idea.
fair?
Do we get to wear Western hats?
Yes.
It's
And-
Howdy Hall.
I just
and-
want to
and
make
fringe. You know,
You
we need lots
have
of
to wear
fringe.
boots.
sure. Buckles and everything. I like
We'll
it.
do it here.
Spurs.
Fringe and
It'll be fun, and I hope that the public will see the value in having these meetings, and because I've always felt that it's great to talk to the mayor, but it's even better to talk to the council, because the council is the ones that making the decisions. So that's the direction we'd like
So you're
to kind
putting us out there.
look at.
I see what you're doing.
Throwing you into the wolves.
Resend.
It'll be
Yeah,
good.
I don't make those decisions. You'll have to talk to the council.
So we'll be doing that, and then we do have our senior lunch bunch put together for February 23rd at 11:30. I've asked him to join me in this
And do you want to tell them why you told them, ask me?
because we're almost 29.
I'm
We're
a
moving up.
senior. I'm the senior on the council, so I have to go to the senior lunch bunch.
So, but these are our nostalgia teenagers. We appreciate them very much. And
Only if we can play the Beatles.
we're going to have some good food, and I think things will be sent out in the newsletter. So we had a fantastic crowd last time. It was pretty big. We had a lot of people come out, almost 30 plus people, and we've got a great group of people. So I'm excited about that moving forward. And then if there's anything else that you guys have for events that you know of, I know we've got, what is it, Matt, our emergency, that emergency thing we're doing with the sheriff's department and the emergency manager.
Yeah, the emergency,
That's on
Lisa
February
Schwartz is
25th.
the new emergency manager, and she's invited the elected officials and staff to come and see the warehouse.
And when was that again?
It's February 25th, and I can't
That's
recall the time.
what day is
You
that?
remember?
It's a Friday, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah. But it would be nice. I'm planning on going. I know Councilmember Morse indicated she would go. So if you guys have time to go, I think it would be a good thing to go out and check that out. We want to support our emergency manager for Weber County.
I just have an update. I don't know which it should go under upcoming event.
Let's wait just a second until we
sorry.
get to the council side. Is there any other events you can think of at this point? Okay, we'll move then over to number 14, our council updates. And
Well, my council update is an event, and it will be next Thursday. Will be the Mock City Council meeting for the council. We're really excited. We've talked to them about that. So how it is planned is they will come at 5. Our meetings go from 5:30 to 6:30. They will come. We'll take about 15, 20 minutes to get them situated. I have an agenda for them with some issues that the city is going through, as well as a budget report. And so our mayor, Mayor Keys, will run the meeting, and the rest will be as council with our treasurer also there. And so if you have time, I'd love for you to be here. I'm trying to make it as realistic as possible with some maybe citizen comments at first. So
that this Thursday?
a week from tomorrow.
A week from tomorrow. Okay.
Open to the public, it sounds like.
What's that?
Open to the public.
Oh, yeah.
Public invited.
So yes, we've already notified their parents, whoever would like to come. So this will be their chance. And they said, "Do we get to sit up there?" I said, "Yeah, you get to sit up here." So they're kind of excited about it. So we'll go through the protocol and how the meeting runs, and go make some votes.
Is that date the 11th, just to clarify?
10th.
The 10th? Okay, thank you. Now I got the weird calendar that's got, okay, the 10th. I need to come so I can learn how to run the city. I'm excited. That'll be good. Any other council updates?
The Arts Council met this month, and they're super excited. They're planning a monthly meeting. They're going to do the Arts Festival again, which will be on September the 24th. It's a Saturday, probably the same 4 to 7 or something like that. But that hasn't been decided. They want to do several other events, have some ideas in the works, so they're super excited.
Excellent. Thank you.
I have an update on the events committee. We're really excited to get going and excited to start planning West Haven Days. We expect to have a lot of the same exciting things we've had in the past, and hopefully some additions, some new things. We are looking for volunteers to serve on that committee. So I think we'll be putting out some things on social media to try and get some volunteers that, from the community that maybe haven't volunteered before and might have some great ideas to share with the committee. So we're really excited about that.
Perfect. Thank you, Nina. Appreciate
Yep.
that. Anybody else?
I have a little bit from the VIPs, getting my feet wet there a little bit. They have a pickup truck that they want to plant in our city. That way we're not necessarily using ours, we still could, but the truck would be parked here, it would be paid for by Weber County Sheriff's Office. They would store some stuff here. Working with Matt, we have a meeting tomorrow with Sergeant Greenhall on that, and that would be used by anybody in the county that could come and use that truck that would be stored here. So that's
Great.
moving in a good direction.
And are we going to continue to use the one that we have now? You know?
We definitely can. I think that's something in our conversation tomorrow, but the concern came up with, is it the residents of West Haven using West Haven's truck and not the other, or can people from Washington Terrace come down and grab the one that's paid for by the county?
Yeah.
So that's
Okay.
fine-tuned there.
Yeah, I know from my experience just being on VIPs, that truck has been used quite a bit. and even Tim and Glenda, they use that truck and not the West Haven truck.
Mm-hmm.
So it gets used quite a bit. So, we appreciate that. That'll be a great thing to have in the city. So thank you for that. Appreciate it. I was trying to think if there was anything else. The Youth Council, they're doing the Easter egg hunt this year, correct?
Yes,
Have
we
you
are.
planned on that?
We will use our March meeting to finalize everything, but it's going well. We're getting some updates from Nicole, who has done it before, but as far as I know, the last meeting, we have everything ready to go.
Okay, thank you. And I think just for the public as well, the city is looking very closely at the policing contract, possible options that are out there. There's a lot of work going into that. We're just finishing up or trying to get the study finished up so that we can get some more information to the council to make some decisions on that. And so we'll be looking at maybe a work or a special meeting that we can finalize some things. We've got to get going on that and get that completed as well. So we'll continue to work towards that. Anything else from the council?
No.
Matt, did you have anything to add?
Nope, doing well.
Okay, thank you. Let's move on to item 15 for adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
You have a motion and a second. And so, thank you, council, for your help on
We have
everything.
to vote, Mayor.
Aye.
You want to vote? You sure you want to go home? Because it's early.
I was just not sure if you were going to vote.
We got some
so-
time. So if we want to hang.
I
for a
know,
little-
we have 6 minutes.
All right, let's go ahead and vote on that. So all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I don't know why they ask if any opposed adjournment. Did you?